Hello everyone, today we are back with a very important topic, that is excretion in human beings. So this is a part of your life processes in 10th CBSE biology. So let's get started with a very important topic in your life processes. First we are going to discuss what is excretion and what is the structure of excretory system. So first we are referring to the NCERT book, then I'll be taking each and everything with notes and with diagrams and I'll teach you. So let's go through the textbook first. Now we have already discussed how organisms are getting rid of gaseous waste during photosynthesis or respiration that we have discussed earlier. Now other metabolic activities, they generate nitrogenous materials which need to be removed from our body, as these nitrogenous materials are very much toxic or harmful for our body cells. We need to remove them from our body. So the biological process involved in the removal of these harmful metabolic wastes from the body is called excretion. So this definition of excretion, in the next slide I'll teach you in a proper manner, right? So the removal of the waste or the harmful toxic materials from our body is called excretion. Now, different organisms use different strategies to do this. Many unicellular organisms remove these wastes by simple diffusion from their body surface into the surrounding water. As we have other processes which are all complex and we are multicellular organisms, we use certain specialized organs to perform the same function of excretion, right? So what are the organs which are involved in excretion? First and foremost are the kidneys. So apart from the kidneys, there are many organs as well. So that I'll be discussing in the later part of today's episode. So dear students, please don't skip my videos in between. You need to stay tuned throughout the episode because I'll be teaching many important things in the middle as well as till the end of this video. So stay tuned with all the lessons till the end which I'm teaching. Now, excretion in humans. Now, excretion in human beings includes a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, a urinary bladder and an urethra. So just see this diagram. This is a diagram of excretory system in humans. These two are the pair of kidneys. This is the aorta, which is bringing oxygenated blood from the heart. So what is the exact location of the kidneys? Now kidneys, they are located in the abdominal region. Okay. So where are they actually located? They are located either side of the backbone. Okay. So they are located either side of the backbone. And we can say in the abdominal cavity they are located. Now you can see the left kidney and the right kidney, their positioning is a bit different. So the right kidney is higher, this position is slightly higher and this one is slightly lower. Okay, so the positioning is different. So this is actually due to the space in the abdominal cavity. They are placed in that way. Now urine is produced in the kidneys and it passes through the ureters into the urinary bladder where it is stored until it is released through the urethra. So what is happening here? It is produced in the kidneys. Then these tubes are the ureters. So from the left kidney, the left ureter is coming, and from the right kidney, the right ureter is coming. They are taking the kidney to the urinary bladder. This is the bladder or the pouch where the urine is stored. And from the urinary bladder, by this urethra is carrying these two out of the body. Okay, the urine is carried out of the body through the urethra. Okay, so aorta, we can say that aorta, when it divides and enters into these two kidneys, it is dividing it into renal artery, right? So again, its branches and sub-branches, arterioles are formed inside, and those arterioles, they bunch out into capillaries. Those capillaries are what? They are glomerular capillaries. Okay, so glomerular capillaries are the one from which are placed on the Bowman's capsule. We will be studying this in the later part of this episode, where we will be studying the structure of the nephron in details. You just remember what I am teaching in this slide so that it will be easier for you to understand when I am teaching the structure of nephron. So what is happening here? This is the left renal artery is entering here, the right renal artery is entering here. So this is the left kidney and this one is the right kidney. So what all we are seeing here we will be seeing the now after the purification of the blood is done, rather we can say that after the metabolic waste products are being absorbed and purified in the kidney, and urine is taking those metabolic wastes and passing it out of the body, then what is happening to the blood? That is again those blood from the left kidney through the left renal vein, it is being taken up to the inferior vena cava. Okay, so inferior vena cava and superior vena cava we have studied when we have studied circulation or transportation. Just try to recall once. So they are taken there, these veins are opening into the inferior vena cava. So inferior vena cava is taking the impure blood or deoxygenated blood from the lower part of the body. Though it is deoxygenated, it is devoid of oxygen, but it is a blood which is pure and which is not having any metabolic wastes or toxic waste from the body. It has been purified in the kidney. It is being taken to the heart for getting it oxygenated to give oxygen to it, but it's devoid of all the metabolic wastes. Is it clear to you all? Now we will move on to the full process of excretion and how the nephron or the structural functional unit of kidney is working. We will get on to that. So is it clear to you all? This is the overall structure of the kidney. The left kidney is slightly higher to the right kidney. This is the left renal vein. This is aorta, which is dividing into two parts when it enters the kidney. Now, this is, we can say that these are the vena cava, that is inferior vena cava. They are being opening to the inferior vena cava from the lower parts of the body. These from the renal veins, they open up in the inferior vena cava. This is the bladder where the urine is stored in the form of in a pouch, and then it is excreted out of the body through this urethra. Okay, now the purpose of we can say that how is urine produced. Okay, so what is excretion? If we take the definition of excretion in details, just it is in the form of notes. Excretion in biology is the process by which the organisms expels the metabolic waste products and other toxic substances from the body. Okay, excretion is observed in every living organism, whether it is a plant, whether it is a unicellular organism or a multicellular. It is a very important process of life. That is, it is a very important life process. Excretory products are created as byproduct of metabolic and non-metabolic activities, and the waste products we can say animals generate are classified as either metabolic wastes or non-metabolic wastes. Okay, so the metabolic wastes are generated as byproduct of the metabolic activity. So we are performing several metabolic activities within our body throughout the day. So whatever wastes are generated are the metabolic waste. So examples of metabolic waste, they includes gases, liquids as well as solids, and non-metabolic wastes are generated when a substance is no longer usable or digestible. It is called a non-metabolic waste. Okay, so that is which is no longer used in the body or no longer digested in the body of an organism. That is called a non-metabolic waste. Okay, so this is the notes part which I am giving you. Just you need to read or write this part when you are getting a question that what is excretion, what are the excretory products in our body, like this. Okay, so the organs of excretion in human body, they include the kidneys are the main organ, then the liver, the lungs, the large intestine and the skin. So we know that the kidneys are playing an important role. We have in the previous slide seen the location, and the main urine formation is the main process by which the excretory products are eliminated from the kidneys. We have seen that. So what all is liver doing? So next comes the liver. So liver is actually, we can say, it is the largest gland of the body. Now it is secreting bilirubin, biliverdin, all these things are being secreted in the liver. And it is also, bile pigments are also produced by the breakdown of hemoglobin in the liver. Okay, so bile pigments are produced in the liver. So these are produced as the breakdown of hemoglobin. Okay, so they are produced as the breakdown of hemoglobin. And what is happening then? Bile is produced as an excretory product in the liver, and it helps to maintain the chemical levels in the blood and in removing the waste away with the digestive waste. So bile is the excretory product of the liver. Okay, so they are eliminated from the body and thus help in the excretion process also. So it maintains the level of amino acids in the body. So when bile are excreted from the body, what is the main thing it is for helping the body? It is helping to maintain the amino acid level in the body. So amino acid level is maintained in the body. So after liver comes the lungs. We know that carbon dioxide is an excretory product which being eliminated from the lungs during our respiration process. Then comes the large intestine. From the large intestine, we know that feces or stool is removed from the body, as that is the undigested, the excretory form, undigested part in which remains in the largest intestine, and it is excreted from the large intestine. That is the feces. So this part it is called egestion. Okay, so that is the egestion part where the undigested food is being excreted from the body. And last but not the least comes the skin. So skin is having several sweat glands which are coil structures, which are when there is a maintenance temperature, hot weather outside, we sweat too much, which is a watery fluid which contains urea, sodium chloride and all. It is also in very small amount, it is also excreting the toxic urea from our body. So it is also a very small amount of urea is excreted from the skin also. Okay, so it is helping to say excrete urea, as well as water balance is also maintained by the sweat glands of the skin. So these are all the other organs which are also taking a part in excretion other than the kidneys, right? Is it clear to all of you? Now we will move on to the next part. Now we are here with nephron. So it is very important when we are studying kidney, we should study about nephron, because each kidneys are made up of huge number of nephrons. So nephron is the basic structural and functional unit of kidney. They are microscopic structures composed of renal corpuscle and renal tubule. So this also we will discuss in details in the next slide. The word nephron is derived from the Greek word nephros, meaning kidney, and there are about millions of nephrons in each human kidney. So we are having 2 kidneys, so each kidney is having millions of nephron. Now the definition of nephron, you can write it like this: nephron is the basic structural and functional unit of kidney that consists of glomerulus and its associated tubules, through which the glomerular filtrate passes before it emerges as urine. Okay, so it is a very specific definition, so you can learn or memorize this. So that consists of glomerular and is associated with the tubules through which the glomerular filtrate passes before it emerges as urine. Is it clear? So this is nephron, and now we will move on to the different parts of the nephron and the glomerulus, Bowman's capsule, and the urine formation, right? So we will move on to all that. So this is the structure of a nephron. Just now we have just defined the nephron. So how does a nephron look like? So the mammalian nephron is a long tube-like structure. So this is the full nephron, or the structural or functional unit of kidney. It is its length is varying from 35 millimeter to 55 millimeter long. At one end, the tube is closed and folded and expanded into a double-walled cup-like structure called the Bowman's capsule. So this is the all tubes are just closed and folded in a we can say cup-like structure called the Bowman's capsule, or the renal corpuscular capsule. This is called the Bowman's capsule or the renal corpuscular capsule, which includes a cluster of microscopic blood vessels called glomerulus. So this Bowman's capsule is enclosing a bunch of capillaries, a bunch of blood vessels which are called glomerulus. Is it clear? So this tube-like folded structure, they are ending and folding into a cup-like shape, that is Bowman's capsule, inside which there is a microscopic cluster of blood vessels or capillaries which is called the glomerulus. Now this capsule and glomerulus, they together constitute of the renal corpuscle. So this Bowman's capsule and this capillary, they are the renal corpuscle part, and these tubes are all the renal tubular part. So that we will discuss in the next coming slide. So this is the Bowman's capsule, the glomerulus, the afferent arteriole and the efferent arteriole, they constitute of the renal corpuscle. Okay, and this proximal convoluted tubule, Henle's loop and this collecting tubule, these all are the parts of the renal tubule. Okay. Here comes the renal tubule, that is the next part of the nephron. So the renal tubule is a long convoluted structure that emerges from the glomerulus and can be divided into three parts based on its function. Now the first part is called the proximal convoluted tubule or PCT. Due to its proximity to the glomerulus, it is called proximal convoluted tubule and it stays in the renal cortex part. Okay, so kidney is having two parts. One is the renal cortex and another one is the renal medulla. So in the cortex part, this proximal convoluted tubule stays. Okay. The second part is the loop of Henle or the nephritic loop, because it forms a loop with the descending and the ascending limbs that goes through the renal medulla. So first part is the renal cortex and then it comes the renal medulla, where the ascending and the descending limbs, they both constitute the loop of Henle or the Henle's loop. Now the third part of the renal tubule is what? It is the distal convoluted tubule, as this part is also restricted to the renal cortex. So this part is also restricted to the renal cortex and this is called the distal convoluted tubule. Now next comes the capillaries of the glomerulus are enclosed by a cup-like structure called the Bowman's capsule, and this structure extends to form the coil tubules called the proximal convoluted tubule. So the capillaries of the glomerulus, we have seen in the previous slide that there are a bunch of capillaries which form the glomerulus, which are enclosed by a cup-like structure, that is the Bowman's capsule. And this structure, they extend to form a highly coiled structure called the proximal convoluted tubule. Just now we have told that. And the proximal convoluted tubule continues to form the loop of Henle, and which in turn they continue to form the distal convoluted tubule, which turns and opens into the collecting duct. So this all we will be seeing in the next slide, the full diagram of this renal corpuscle and the collecting tubules and the renal tubules. The major function of the tubules is reabsorption, and the process can either be through active transport or passive transport. In addition, secretions by the tubules helps in the urine formation without affecting the electrolytic balance of the body. So they are forming the urine without affecting the pH balance or electrolyte balance of the body. Okay, so let us see the diagram of this renal tubule and corpuscle. So two nephron structures I have taken here. Let us see this one, the right one. It is good. Here see the renal corpuscle. This constitutes of the Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus. So glomerulus is having the afferent arteriole and the efferent arteriole. Now from the glomerulus, what is arising? The proximal convoluted tubule is arising. So proximal straight tubule, it goes down, it forms the descending limb, and then the thin ascending limb, it is happening. So this thing, descending and ascending limbs, they both together, they form the loop of Henle or the Henle's loop. You can see. Okay, so the descending and the ascending limb, they together form this loop, or this is called the loop of Henle. Now we move on up to the thick ascending limb, and then this part is called the we can say this is called the distal convoluted tubule. So this part again, after this thick ascending limb, this part is called the distal convoluted tubule. Okay, now after that, this distal convoluted tubule, they open up in this collecting straight tubules, which are called the collecting duct or collecting tubules. Okay, so these are the collecting duct or collecting tubule. So this is the structure of the nephron. Just you need to see this diagram, practice it with all the labelings, because might be you are not getting each and every part in details for draw and label, but you can get like this. You can get this named as 1 2 3 4. You can get that label. You are getting to this is the Bowman's capsule, right? So you will get that name the number 2 and what is its function. So name this part, and this is suppose the 4. Name 4 in the diagram and state what is its function. Now here collecting duct, if it is labeled as 5, they will tell you that name the 5 which has been named as 5. Name it in the diagram and state its function. So like this you are going to get in your final exams, not in details like draw a label diagram of nephron. You are not getting questions like that. You will be getting 1 2 3 4 in labeling, and you will be naming those specific parts which have been mentioned by the numbers, and you will be answering them with the functions. Okay, so it will be a part of your question. So please remember the functions. I'll be discussing each and every function in detail. So this is the proximal convoluted tubule. So the blood which is brought by the renal artery is filtered by the glomerulus first, and it is then passed to the proximal convoluted tubule or PCT. Now maximum reabsorption takes place in PCT of the nephron. Now PCT is the region of the renal tubule where reabsorption of essential substances like glucose, proteins, amino acids and a major portion of electrolytes and water will take place in this proximal convoluted tubule. The surface area of this reabsorption is facilitated by the lining of simple cuboidal epithelium in them. And reabsorption takes place at the expense of energy, and the process is active. So this is active absorption is happening here. Proximal convoluted tubule, they selectively keep on secreting ions. What are the ions? Hydrogen, ammonia and potassium into the filtrate and absorbs bicarbonate from it. So they are secreting hydrogen, ammonia, potassium into the filtrate, and they are absorbing bicarbonate from it. Thus we can say that proximal convoluted tubules maintains the electrolyte and acid base balance of the body. It's very important. So this is only you can write it or learn it in the form of notes, right? So this is very important. They are helping us to maintain the electrolyte and the acid base balance of the body. Okay, so let us move on to the next part, that is the Henle's loop. So here comes the loop of Henle or the Henle's loop, which is having a descending and an ascending limb. So it is having a descending limb as well as an ascending limb. Being the parts of the same loop, both ascending and descending limbs show different permeability. Though they are ascending and descending loop of the same Henle's loop, they show different type of permeability. Okay, the descending limb is permeable to water but impermeable to an electrolyte, while the ascending limb is permeable to electrolytes but impermeable to water. So this is very important. The ascending limb is permeable to electrolytes, but the descending limb is impermeable to electrolytes. But the descending limb is permeable to water, the ascending limb is impermeable to water. Please memorize this properly. Since the electrolytes gets reabsorbed at the ascending loop of Henle, the filtrate gets diluted as moved towards the ascending limb, but reabsorption is limited in this segment. We have seen in the previous part that in the proximal convoluted tubule, reabsorption was much more, but in this part, reabsorption is much limited, right? Now next part. Next part is the distal convoluted tubule. Now this is this part, the distal convoluted tubule, which is the last part, okay. And we can say that its contents are flowing into the collecting tubules that line the medullary pyramids, okay. The collecting ducts, a mass contains from the multiple nephrons and fuse together as they enter the papillae of the renal medulla. So they are entering the renal medulla part, they are entering the papillae of the renal medulla. Now here what is happening, similar to proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule is also secreting ions such as hydrogen, potassium and ammonia. into the filtrate which is reabsorbing the bicarbonate. The same thing was happening in the proximal convoluted tubule. So do you remember in previous slides only we have studied from the filtrate. Okay, so the conditional reabsorption of sodium ions and water takes place in the distal convoluted tubule. Okay, now it maintains the pH and the sodium potassium level of the blood cells. So how the kidney reabsorption occurs in the proximal convoluted tubule and distal convoluted tubule, which maintains the full pH and the sodium potassium level of the blood cells. Okay, is it clear to all of you? Now comes the collecting duct. So what is it doing? The collecting duct is actually, it is a long straight tube where the hydrogen and the potassium ions are secreted to maintain the electrolyte balance of the blood. So here you can see this is the collecting duct. All the blood is brought here and it is drained into the collecting duct. So this is maintaining the electrolyte balance of the blood, and it is a region where the maximum amount of reabsorption of water takes place to produce the concentrated urine. So if the water reabsorption is not being taken place in this collecting tubule, we will produce diluted urine, and which will cause scarcity or loss of water in our body. So that will cause again dehydration. So the urine must be in a concentrated form, and that final reabsorption happens in this place, in this collecting tubule. Now we will move on to the renal corpuscular part. Now here comes the renal corpuscle. So renal corpuscle, we all know, consists of the glomerulus and surrounded by the Bowman's capsule. The glomerulus arises from an afferent arteriole and empties into an efferent arteriole. Okay, so it arises from the afferent arteriole and it empties into the efferent arteriole. The smaller diameter of the efferent arteriole helps to maintain the high blood pressure in the glomerulus. So this afferent is more thicker than this efferent. Efferent is much smaller in diameter than the afferent. So it helps in maintaining the pressure of blood in this glomerular region, right? Now the Bowman's capsule is divided into again 3 layers. The outer parietal layer, you can see here in the diagram, the outer layer is the parietal layer. Now next comes, it is made up of epithelial cells and minute pores of diameter 12 nanometer. Then comes the middle basement layer, which is selectively permeable. It is having a middle basement layer which is selectively permeable, and next comes the inner visceral layer. So this inner layer is visceral layer. It consists of the large nucleated cells called the podocytes. Okay, they consist of large cells with the nucleus called the podocytes, which bear finger-like projections called the podocell. Okay, so the inner visceral layer here, you can see they contain, we can say podocytes. They are nucleated cells and they have finger-like projections called the podocell. Now we will just go through quickly the excretion in plants, and we will end up our lesson on excretion. So just a few instances where we will just discuss about the plants. Now we are going to discuss about the artificial kidney. So what is artificial kidney and what is hemodialysis? Now kidneys are the vital organs. We know that several factors might be like infections, injury, restricted blood flow to the kidneys. They reduce the activity of the kidneys. So what will happen if all the accumulation of poisonous things, wastes happens in the body, which can lead to even death also. So we need to expel the waste products from our body. So in that case, kidneys failure, an artificial kidney is used. An artificial kidney is a device. What is a device? It is removing the nitrogenous waste products from the blood through the process of dialysis. So the method is called the dialysis. Okay, so this method is used to remove the waste from the body. So what is happening? You can see from the person's body, blood is being extracted and it is being pumped into the dialyzer. Okay, it is being pumped into this dialyzer. So what is there? Artificial kidneys contain a number of tubes through a semi-permeable lining suspended in a tank filled with dialyzing fluid. Okay, so this is a fresh dialyzing solution. Okay, and this is used dialyzing solution with urea and excess salt. So after purification of the blood, this is the used dialyzing fluid, that is the urine which we are producing from our kidney. So this part in the artificial kidneys, this is the urine part. After purification of the blood, the used dialyzing solution with urea and excess salts is this one. Okay, so what is happening, we should know that. So this fluid has some same osmotic pressure as blood, except that it is devoid of the nitrogenous waste what our blood is having. So when the patient's blood is passed through these tubes, what is happening? The waste products from the blood passes into the dialyzing fluids by diffusion, that is from a region of higher concentration which is in the blood to a region of lower concentration which is in the dialyzing fluid. Okay, so the purified blood is pumped back into the patient, and this is similar to the function of the kidneys, but it is different since there is no reabsorption method happening in this process. Normally in a healthy adult, the initial filtrate from the kidneys is 180 liter daily. However, the volume actually is excreted only 1 liter or 2 a day, because the remaining filtrate is reabsorbed from the kidney tubules into our bodies again, right? So same thing is happening. It is being the nitrogenous waste diffuses into the dialyzing solution. Then the pure blood is again pumped into the body, and which is devoid of the nitrogenous waste, and the urea and the excess salts are produced in this bottle, which are thrown away, right? But the reabsorption which is happening in the kidneys is not happening in this artificial hemodialysis method, right? Is it clear? So this is also very important for your exam, so just go through it once. Now we will move on to the excretion in plants one. So it is a very small topic, just we will go through it once. Now, excretion in plants, it is actually completely different strategies for excretion than those of animals. Now, oxygen itself can be thought of as a waste product generated during photosynthesis from the plants, and we have discussed earlier also how plants deal with oxygen as well as carbon dioxide in photosynthesis, and they can get rid of excess water by transpiration. We have already studied these processes, right? Now, for other waste plants, they use the fact that many of their tissues, they consists of dead cells. They can even lose some parts of their leaves also. So the leaves which are having dead cells, they just shed those leaves. That is also excretion part. Many plants, the waste products are stored in cellular vacuoles. Like waste products of the leaves, they fall off. Other waste products are gums, raisins and all. And especially in old xylem, plants also excrete some waste substances into the soil around them. So this is quite in brief about the plants excretion. We were just highlighting on the excretion in animals and humans rather. Okay, so just we can think over this organ donation also. Just go through it once. It's a generous act of donating organ to a person who suffers from a non-functional organ. So if there is anyone donor in your family, anyone regardless of the age or gender can become an organ or tissue donor. Transplantation is required because the recipient's organ has been damaged or has failed to work due to disease or injury. In organ transplantation, the organ is surgically removed from one person, that is the organ donor's body, and is transplanted to another person. So this we can know that some organs like corneas, kidneys, heart, liver, pancreas, lungs, intestines and bone marrows, they can be transplanted. Most of the organs or tissue donations occur just after the patient has died, but some organs like kidney, part of liver, lungs, tissues can be donated while the person is alive as well. So this is all in detail about the excretion in human beings, and a slide we have discussed about plants also. So please go through it all. Please subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends as well if you want to get the updates of this CBSE curriculum, other lessons also. So stay tuned, stay updated, subscribe to my channel so that whenever I'm posting lessons, go through it. You will get the updates and don't skip in between, because throughout the episode I'll be teaching you many important things. So stay tuned, stay updated. Thanks a lot for watching my video, and bye bye. And please go through this lesson once again. Thank you.